Call it to order. We're going to start with the evacuation procedure. Should we encounter an emergency, we will exit from the lobby behind the gallery here, either to the east or west. If for some reason those exits are not available, you can exit behind council here. We will take you out to the muster point, which is the gazebo in Lions Park. If we're evacuated for any reason, we cannot re-enter the building until we're given the all clear by staff to do so. Ms. Devlin, is there any additions to the agenda?
We have none, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. So we will call for adoption of the agenda. Mayor Hansen? Sure. Excellent. All in favor? That is passed unanimously. Our discussion items today, we have the wonderful Staff Sergeant Jay Peden sitting in front of us, so we are going to begin with him with the RCMP presentation.
Thank you for inviting me. Being that we have new councillors here today, I've taken a more of an informal approach to discuss basically the detachment, a bit of the funding model that the RCMP here for the town of Sylvan Lake is funded by, and then some details, and then obviously some questions. And I've limited the stats today. I think we get stats heavy so often, but I will do my best for the questions. So, all right. All right, so Sylvan Lake Municipal Detachment, we are, the portion of our detachment here is funded by the town of Sylvan Lake, who is our municipal policing service agreement holder, our contract holder. This is under the Police Act of Alberta, where the contracts policing are made with the Government of Canada. With most municipalities, I believe there's 18 in the province of Alberta that have populations greater than 15,000, such as Sylvan Lake. In that case, the town funds 90% of the budget, and the federal government, Government of Canada, funds the 10% to make it 100%. Municipalities under 5,000, it's a bit of a different ratio. We'll talk about that shortly here. Just for knowledge, our policing area for the municipality is 24 square kilometers. Our detachment here is made up for the municipal contract. I'm a provincial member on the provincial side as the commander. Then we have one sergeant who is the ops NCO, Sergeant Sean Sexsmith, 3 corporals that consist of 2 general duty corporals and 1 GIS corporal, so general investigative section, which is our plainclothes unit that concentrates on more serious person crimes, more serious frauds, as well as Controlled Drugs and Substances Act type investigations. We have 1 school resource officer, which is permanently vacant. I know it's a hot topic for discussion. And today is not the place, I don't think. I just want to go through a little more informal stuff here. 11 general duty investigators, so that's constables. And those are the ones that you normally see on the road, driving around, going call to call. We have 2 public service employees, so support staff, and then we have the 2 municipal employees, which are support staff. In all honesty, our support staff are who runs the detachment. Our provincial side, we have, in the detachment, we have both the provincial and the municipal allotments, which then runs as a post system. There are 7 members which are paid by the province and the rural municipalities that surround Sylvan Lake that are in our detachment area. So you have Bentley, Eckville, and then Red Deer County, Lacombe County all pay a portion of that as well. Our rural area serviced is 1,027 square kilometers. So we have 7 members technically allotted for that larger space. However, with the post system, it's give and take. Myself, the staff sergeant, is funded by the province. One corporal is general duty. I have one constable in our GIS section, then I have 4 general duty constables that also make up that allotment. So essentially, I've got 23 members in total. At this time, the SRO is permanently vacant until such time the town decides to reactivate it or not. So 22 members in total that police our area. With that, there might be calls for service in the rural area that require resources that are technically funded by the town to go there. But likewise, we're also having our rural members probably spend more time in town than they do outside town, just based on the calls for service, the peak season, which is June, July, August. You see more of the concentration of policing inside the town limits. As we know, the peak season brings an increase in tourist population, estimated over 760,000 during that peak period. We have an increase in motor in public, increase in alcohol consumptions along Lakeshore Drive there, and then to help augment that, the town has a $60,000 enhanced policing budget per year that we tap into to provide extra members down along Lakeshore Drive. I will say, over the years, when my first time working here was in 2006 as a constable, to what it is now, it is a very, very different community, different environment on Lakeshore Drive. It's more family friendly now. For instance, our prisoner count back then was roughly 3,000 plus prisoners in 1 year. As of today, I think we're at 236. So there's been a drastic shift in the demands for some of the policing and what we're seeing. Say social disorder, but drunken public, cause disturbance, the fighting that used to occur isn't quite the same now. Any questions so far? So our annual performance plan, and this is changing. We just found out about this last week with a meeting with our commanding officer. Is used by the detachment at the detachment level to focus on policing activities in line with the community's concerns. So what happens is we will engage in a consultation process. Mayor Hansen's been part of this now for a few years. We've done it with Blackfalds virtually to make sure we have all the municipalities in the greater area here have input. Out of these consultations, usually the concerns are consistent across central Alberta. Crime reduction, traffic, youth engagement, community engagement. This year, wellness was another one that came up. And with that APP, what we do is we will then draft the plan. The plan is submitted to Mayor and Council here for approval of those priorities. And then we do quarterly reporting on them. So contrary to what a lot of the media says, the priorities aren't developed by Ottawa or the federal government. They're right here. They're homegrown, organically brought about through the concerns that yourselves or our members have with the public, engaging the public. A few years ago, we did a survey with the high school where what we thought was going to be some of the concerns of bullying and some of those type of actions actually turned out to be vaping and theft were the concerns that were raised by the youth. So our perception of what we thought it would be was very different from what the youth had brought forward to us. So we try to include that engagement piece as well. The quarterly reporting then will come out. I know you guys have received the quarterly report here recently, I guess last month. It breaks down our stats of what we've done, and then also will include community engagement events. We report on them. However, what you're seeing in those reports, I think, is only a fraction of what happens on a daily basis by our members here. Our members will stop at schools, will at the stores, in their travels, will see the community, engage in the community. But some of the higher profile events, 1913 Days, Canada Day, we're always involved. I can say with 100% certainty that all the members here enjoy the community and they want to be here. And you can see that with the morale and the involvement in the community that they have. So with the quarterly reporting, we also, it goes to the management team for Central Alberta District, which is based out of the airport at Edmonton. Excuse me. So they're aware of what goes on as well. So they're tracking our successes or deficiencies when we have those. Another component of this is ULQAs, or Unit Level Quality Assurance component. So that allows myself to identify internal aspects of what we need to increase the service delivery if we have any gaps that need to be shored up. So those could be quality of investigation, those could be prisoner handling, those could be in line with specific type of investigations that we look at. Could be domestic related matters, sexual offenses, could be drugs, could be exhibit handling. So there's a wide variety that we look at, and those do change year to year based on the needs that internally I see where we need to change that.
Jay, there's a question here.
Yes.
First, Indy.
Yeah, just one question about not trying to imagine a world where every part of the area the detachment serves has a unique ask or a mix of asks, but how, if Sylvan Lake, the town, had a unique priority, would that be able to be handled by the detachment, if there's something that was quite different than the rest or a new priority?
Yep, definitely. Yeah. Definitely, and I'll speak to that just a little bit more here too.
Thanks.
Obviously, it's the APP, or performance plans, our roadmap for the detachment activities throughout the year. So our APP this year, like I said, crime reduction, enhanced road safety, community engagement, and wellness. And so that's broken down into subcategories. So community engagement, youth engagement, community engagement at events or just day-to-day activities. Road safety, impaired driving is always a big one. I believe this year we also have intersections and speeding, I think, was added. Last year we had pedestrian safety as a key component to that. Our crime reduction, we use the use of prolific bail hearing packages. So individuals who are repeat customers, we will have a comprehensive bail package where we will use those to help that bail process should they be arrested, taken before a justice of the peace for a judicial interim release hearing. And we provide all the information that we can so the Crown, who's acting on behalf of the prosecution, and the JP and Defense Counsel can understand where everything's at. Lighthouse compliance checks. So compliance checks are individuals who are released on some sort of order by the courts or released by us on an undertaking with conditions, so no contact, no go, curfew. The curfew obviously be in your residence between, say, 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. And so what we'll do is we'll do compliance checks to ensure that they're actually abiding by their conditions. And so what we see is it changes. There's a flux. We'll have a lot of compliance checks and we'll have a lot of breaches, and then we'll go with a little less compliance checks, breaches, and then we'll go with a lot of compliance checks and very little breaches. What it has succeeded in is they know we're checking on them and they'll relocate somewhere else. Red Deer has the same type of program. They'll do their checks and then they'll migrate out to rural communities where they'll have less of a contact with a police officer. So there are successes that we've seen here in our community for it. And then increase in drug search warrants. So this year we've had several drug search warrants that have made the news, some large quantities seized. So that is something that's also seeing success.
Jay, would you say that the Lighthouse program is successful in Sylvan?
Yes.
And how do you measure that?
The rate of compliance, so, and I don't have the stats, I didn't bring stats for this, but I know last year the total, we did over 700 and some checks, and I think we laid about 13 to 20 charges. So those are where you'll see those results come in. And then, like I said, they relocate. We'll go to do a compliance check, and then we'll find out that they actually moved. We just hadn't been updated with their new address. They moved to another location outside of our jurisdiction. So, road safety, like I said, speeding offenses, distracted driving, which is always a big one, and then pedestrian safety with the intersections is there, impaired driving, and then our joint force operations. So we've had opportunity to work with municipal enforcement here on different type of speed enforcement, traffic enforcement, Red Deer County, Lacombe County, out in the county area, and we've had a joint force operation with the sheriffs out on Highway 11 and 766, just south of Eckville. So we're still working in tandem with the other agencies. And then, of course, the community engagement, schools, youth engagement, public events, and municipal meetings. So before I go on to this point, about the priorities. So also announced here last week was a change in the way Alberta RCMP are going to be doing the annual performance plans. They're looking for a rollout, they said in January 2026 here, and it's going to be a community priority plan or community policing plan, where what we're using now doesn't allow a lot of shift in priorities, whereas moving forward, should those priorities shift, say, you know what, this was a priority, you guys have done a good job, this isn't an issue anymore, but we're seeing that this is an issue, then we can update it and implement that into the priority plan and move forward there, and then report on the results. So it'll be a little more fluid, which will allow, I think, a more precise and more precise approach to what the concerns are. Facebook. Our RCMP detachment here in Sylvan Lake has a Facebook page, and if you're not on it, I suggest that you jump on it. Elf on the Shelf is just, Officer Jingles is just starting here again. Last year we had a lot of positive feedback about that. Elf on the Shelf was out ice fishing, talking about impaired driving, just some community awareness facts. You know, if you're going shopping for Christmas, don't leave your items in the vehicle because the Grinch may come by. So stuff like that. And we actually get a lot of feedback on the Facebook page. So it's fun. I owe all that to our office staff. I can talk about our support staff being the ones who run the office. They came up with the idea, they ran with it, and it's been a big hit. So Crime Capture. So for those who aren't aware, Crime Capture is a, oh, sorry.
You didn't wave.
It wasn't that urgent. It was a social media question. Is it, the name is always a struggle every time I go to find it because it doesn't say Sylvan Lake RCMP. Is that something that is mandated by higher up? That,
Yeah,
or how do we make it more visible that that is the Sylvan Lake page?
So it's under Alberta RCMP, I believe, and then into Sylvan Lake Detachment. So ultimate control comes from our communications and strategy group to monitor that, make sure the messaging is consistent. But a lot of the content we put on is by our choice, our design. So I don't know, I'm not a Facebook guy, so but I can look into that to find out. But yeah, we were one of the first detachments to have it. And we were given a little bit of leeway. We're given more leeway now, but the naming convention and that was all through K-Division, Alberta RCMP. So.
Councillor Minneke?
Just a follow-up to Mayor Hansen's question. Is there a difference then to the Facebook page that you posted on the presentation versus the one I'm looking at right now that is titled the Sylvan Lake RCMP Detachment?
Nope, that would be the, no, that should be the one. So the QR code will get you there as well.
Yeah, okay.
I'd have to,
It's all good,
Okay.
of course, thank you.
crime
I love that.
capture.
I love the social media got the most attention. That's-
So crimecapture.ca. Years ago when I worked in Red Deer, I was tasked to create a camera registry that might work. It was part of the APP that the city of Red Deer had requested. It had been brought up. And I'd done a lot of research, and there was no RCMP-owned camera registries. So I did the research, did the privacy impact assessment, and ended up developing capture.ca, Red Deer Capture in Red Deer. So CAPTURE stands for Crime Prevention through the use of recorded evidence. And the website design it took, I've consulted with detachments from Newfoundland to northern BC. So it's been rolled out several places across the RCMP, including Saskatchewan, here in Alberta. During the wildfires, Alberta RCMP then adopted it for the wildfire areas so individuals could register their cameras. And what it is, I know everyone's worried about Big Brother. What it is it's a volunteer camera registry. The data protection regulations that you see in Europe is written into this that you have the ability to remove your data whenever you want. So there's no information creep over into our systems. It's separate from that. And so it's been beneficial. There have been successes with it. On that note, the footage that you have is your footage. We don't have access to it unless you were to volunteer it. And so there's implementations that are there to respect privacy and not just assume that, well, we're going to come take it and that's the end of it, right? So.
Councillor?
Yes.
Just a quick question on that, just for the lawyer brain of me. So you register for this and then the RCMP can't just force you to bring over your footage at the end?
No, because and a lot of systems might record it. The retention might be set for so many days. So if we have something that occurs in our communities, we have an aging population, we have individuals with cognitive disabilities, and so it's not just about crime, right? So if you have an elderly individual with dementia who walks away in the middle of the night, and we know we believe that in that direction, then we can look at the registry to say, we know there's a camera registered here, the camera faces out to the roadway. We can call that individual and say, can you please check your camera to find out if someone wandered past you or looking for someone who's at risk. Likewise, it could be a criminal offense, and we could call you up or knock on the door and ask you if we notice that you're registered on this registry. Do you have any footage? And from there, we don't know if you have it or not. So it's just another investigational step to make that contact in a more expedited manner to find out where the leads are. So.
I'll just throw a general comment from our son living in Red Deer previously. Red Deer RCMP had that arrangement too, and that program assisted him by helping the RCMP that certain neighbors had cameras registered, and then the RCMP could go to them and ask for footage, and they could identify a vehicle and certain people. And so it's a great program in my opinion.
Yeah, while I was in Red Deer, we had one where there's property damage that was occurring. Oddly enough, the house that the property damage was occurring and the neighbor both had cameras registered, and we were able to identify the suspect who was doing it on a routine basis. So, yeah, there have been incidents where there's a lot of success with it. So, yeah. Cool. The RCMP has an app. It is a mobile app for iOS and Android devices, and it provides the public to news, crime reporting, detachment locations, crime mapping. The crime mapping is a fairly live, updated map, and then there's statistical information as well. So you can do online crime reporting, so certain offenses that are under a dollar amount, under, say, theft under 5,000 or property damage under 5,000, you can do it online. The callback unit will then take that, they'll follow up with anything they need, and they'll let us know that this file came in and nothing else has to happen, and they'll conclude it, or it'll send to the detachment for reassignment for further investigation. So, like I said here, so a little bit of a breakdown as to what that looks like for what you can report on. Okay. Fairly informal. Like I said, I know you guys have a long meeting ahead of you, so, but do you have any questions?
Councillor Johannesson?
Just out of curiosity, do you know roughly how many cameras you have registered in Sylvan Lake in that program?
You know what, I don't. I haven't looked at that in a while, so. Yeah.
Is there something that, I think, like my colleague said here, I think it's a great idea. Is there something that we can do to advertise that, to let people know? Because I didn't know that even existed till right now. So.
Well, we have literature. I can't remember if it's on the town website or not. So I thought there was a link there, but as well. But yeah, the information is out there, and we can do up a media piece again and send that out to bolster.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be willing to. I mean, I'm going to do it right when this meeting is over. I got a nice ring cam I just got for Christmas.
So on the registry itself, on the backside, the investigators can see where the cameras are. The public can't. So you can see where your camera is, but the public doesn't have access to where any of the locations are, as well, obviously, for privacy concerns there. So, yeah.
Any other thoughts? Thank you very much, Jay.
All right.
It's always good you're here. Next up, we have the Community Services Department orientation.
I'll just note while they shuffle seats that our RCMP reporting statistics show up on our agendas under council information and requests at the bottom. So they aren't necessarily always presented on, but we do see those quarterly, and then that's your chance if you ever have questions to pull that item out, and we can always ask for further details even if Staff Sergeant Peden isn't in attendance on that meeting.
We're just going to get started in a minute here. Councillor Stindy just needed to grab a water.
Good evening. So I'm going to present the Community Services orientation. So I'll take care of the recreation side, and then Alyssa will take care of the WCC side. How come I'm not going anywhere? Oh, that might be easier. Okay, so in Community Services, we have Wellness and Community Connections. So in that section of the department, we have Community and Cultural Services, Family Services, Older Adult Services, and Youth Services. And then on the recreation side, we have Reception, Food and Beverage, Operations, Aquatics, Programs, and Special Events. So in recreation, we have just over 100 staff. That equates to about 45 FTE. The reason that we have so many part-time staff is it takes a large number of people to run things such as an Exor Center or special events or even swimming lessons, for example, a high number of people in a short period of time, and that's why we have so much. As well, the facility itself is open from 5:30 in the morning until anywhere between 11 o'clock at night. At midnight, typically 7 days a week. So we have the Recreation Facility and Operations Manager. That falls under John Eastwood, and then the Recreation Engagement and Services Manager, which is Christy Becker, and she takes care of the rest of the department. So our reception team takes care of all program registrations, and they assist with campground bookings as well. They do all the facility bookings. That includes anything that happens at the Nexor Center, any of our outdoor spaces, such as picnic shelters, parties, weddings, and all of the allocations that go along with that. So that could be ice, so for the arena, curling rink, and assist with sports field allocations as well. They help residents with parking registrations, and they are responsible for the visitor information. So that means anything that comes through Visit Sylvan Lake. So it could be through a Facebook question or through the toll-free number for tourism. And they're the hub for the emergency response team for the Nexor Center. So anything response-related funnels through the reception desk. They ensure the facility is cleared as per instructions from our operations team in other areas of the building. Our food and beverage team, so we have the Diamond Valley Den and the DNA concession. So they are responsible for any food service that happens in the facility, as well as outside of the facility. So they take care of all the AHS requirements and AGLC requirements. So that could be for any special events that we have happening. So if council is hosting a barbecue, for example, at a Lakeshore cleanup, it's our food and beverage departments that's taking care of the AHS permitting for it. Or if there's a beer gardens, for example, that's happening as part of an event, so Flannel and Feast, in conjunction with maybe another restaurant or bar in town, they're taking care of those AGLC requirements. One interesting thing about AGLC is it has to be in an individual person's name. So our license actually falls under my name for the town. The town cannot be holder of the license itself. They take care of all lounge bookings and catering services, and then I already talked about some of the different events that we do. They also support external events, so they do library trivia nights, for example, or Breakfast with Santa, so they're the ones that are doing all the cooking for that event as well. Our operations team, so most people know them as the people that take care of the rinks. So they take care of all of our safety and security for our town facilities. So we do take care of a number of activities in other buildings outside of the Nexor Center. So for example, our custodians take care of this building, they take care of the Public Works building, the WCC building, RCMP, fire department, so they take care of all the cleaning in those facilities. They also take care of the security pieces. So if a booking is happening in any of our buildings, at multi-campus, so those are the gyms and the Fine Arts Center, at Mother Teresa and Fox Run School, they are facilitating that, as well as in the Nexor Center and obviously at the WCC building. They do all of the takedown, setup and takedown for any of our events. So some of the pictures that we're showing, for example, is events that are happening on the lake. So they're the ones that are possibly running the skid steer or bobcat or whatever that case might be, assisting with that. They're setting chairs up, tables, anything that happens. So for the bull riding event, which is the picture to the right, our staff at, I think the picture showing just before 10 o'clock at night are busy tearing down the facility. Our aquatics team, so they do take care of all the programming. So they're doing the aquafit classes, swimming lessons, adaptive programming as well. They are responsible for the safety supervision of the swimming pool, so they all have to have their lifeguarding certification, and a few of them have their pool operator's certificate. So in order to operate a pool, you have to have a pool operator's certificate in order to do that. So they're the ones that are primarily responsible for that under the supervision of the aquatic supervisor. They are also our main emergency response for the Nexor Center. So if something happens in the building, they are calling aquatics down to assist. So for example, just this past week or on the weekend, we had an incident that happened on the rink where somebody broke their leg, and it was our aquatics team that does that response and takes care of that person until the ambulance can arrive. They also are responsible to be the first aid personnel at any of our events that we have happening, whether it's inside of the building or outside. I already mentioned the pool maintenance and the chemistry, so they're responsible for that. And they provide all the public information and education kind of recommendations and support. They also take care of any of the first aid classes that we have running for town employees, and that's all facilitated through our aquatics. And the swimming pool falls under the Alberta Swimming Pool Regulations, and so they ensure that those certifications and requirements are being met with AHS. Next is our programs team. So they plan all of our recreational programs, and that's for children, youth, and adults. So some of those programs would include any of the membership programs through the NextSource Center. So those are programs that are included in either a drop-in or a membership, as well as any of the drop-in programs that are happening at multi-campus. So that could be the drop-in sports or pickleball, for example. They also do summer day camps and schools out day camps. So they do that all summer long. If there's no school days, or for example, during the teacher strike to help with parents with some of their childcare needs, they facilitated some of those day camps as well. Most of them happen through the NextSource Center, but we do collaborate with WCC and ensure that all the needs are met of the residents. Our special events team, they are the ones that are planning and coordinating town special events and initiatives, and they're the ones that are processing the permit applications and are working with our external special events in order to host events in the town. So we do have a special event coordinator and a special event administrator. A number of our staff do help out in events. With a really small team of 2, there's no way that they can put on all the events themselves for the town, so we do pull other areas of the department to assist whenever possible. And they also work with WCC to ensure that we have volunteers for any of our town events. Some of the highlights for the department, so all the programs and events that we offer are inclusive, and we talked about the Access to card program in the last fees and charges bylaw, so that's one of the new things that we added in just to kind of solidify that. A number of our staff completed swim abilities, so that helps them work with adaptive aquatics within the pool and help them meet the needs of children within our community. This past year, one of our staff was nominated and received the Friend of Diversity Award for the work that she did with the Swim Abilities program. We also have the You Can Play Too program. So it is a fee assistance program for residents of Sylvan Lake to access town programs and activities. This year we were able to support 64 residents in their recreational activities in the community, and that's open for all ages. The only requirement is that they are of lower income and that they're residents of the town. Some of the highlights is through our special events team, we create tourism products. So what that does is it allows for opportunities to residents and visitors to be involved and contribute in our local economy. So a prime example of this is the Ice Dragon Boat Festival. We do impact assessments on any of these larger events whenever we can. So there is a number of pieces of data that we have to capture in order to do that assessment. We do that through Travel Alberta. And so for this example that I have on the slide, the Dragon Boat Festival, it identified a total business sale of just over 553,765 overnight attendees, and then an additional 168 day attendees. So when we're planning our events and we're working through things, these are the types of things that helps us to justify the economic impact within our community. And then the other one that council is aware of is the collaboration that we did with the nautical swim team on the CFEP program. So through that program, we were able to jointly apply for that $307,000 that went towards the filter tank project at the pool. Any questions on recreation?
Just one clarification on the stats. The Access 2 program and then the You Can Play 2 program, those are completely separate programs, right? How many families did you mention or individuals Access 2 were supported by?
So through the chair for the You Can Play 2 program, we had 64 residents this year. So council just said that as part of our budget. So we have about $10,000 that we can use that goes towards programming. So basically it's just moving money from one GL to another. So it could be any of the programs that Alyssa's team is doing, although primarily in WCC there isn't a charge for programs. So really the majority of the time it is programming within the recreation department. So that can help support residents for memberships for the NextSource Center, for swimming lessons for their kids or themselves. It could be towards a first aid class, which we've had some members of the community do. It helps them become more employable to get a job, for example. So those are some of the examples.
Okay. Thank you.
On the Access 2 website, we're not listed yet. Are we, is there more to do? There's only one Sylvan location on the list right now.
Through the chair, I'll have to check on that. When I did look shortly after they responded to me that they had added us, we were on there, so I will go back on there and take a look.
Thank you.
So for WCC, Wellness and Community Connections, we serve community members from early childhood right straight through to older adulthood. We offer prevention, early intervention, and intervention programs. We have 29.2 FTE, which equates to 37 staff members. Some of those are town-funded, some of those are grant-funded staff. We served just over 23,000 clients last year coming in through our different programs. Just wanted to highlight that there's research out there that for every dollar of prevention money, you can save up to $7, $12, I've heard $15 in intervention costs later on. So when we're thinking of the prevention dollars, we're saving money in health, we're saving money in justice, we're saving money in municipal enforcement, and later on if we can stop things ahead of time. So just wanted to share that little stat. So what do we do? Youth Services is one of our 4 teams. So Youth Services has the Flipside Youth Center. So they offer the after-school programs, Flipside on the Go, the Connect program. So we have a youth, a teen, and a family Connect program. They're offering Rainbows programs out in the community. We run the skate park, so we have skate park ambassadors out in the summer, so they do the skate park season opener. They have a Central Alberta skate park tour. We have like the Girls Takeover program in the skate park, and then daily programming as well. One of the things that we added in this year was a program to introduce the littles to the skate park. So we had a number of little people with the skate park ambassadors, just learning how to use the skate park, and also for those parents learning how to, what the etiquette of the skate park is. We have our mentoring program as well. So all the schools in Sylvan Lake, with the exception of Lighthouse Christian, are involved in our mentoring program. So we have staff that go out and pair up younger youth with older youth and meet in the different schools. We also have our Community Helpers program that we're offering throughout the different schools, and Press Pause is another one of the programs that they offer right in the schools, and we are introducing Heart Math as another program that we will do in the school as well. We also have crime prevention staff. We have 2 staff under the crime prevention grant, so they're doing the UN Transition Program and the Safeguard, which are between universal targeted intensive programs. And they're delivering them throughout Red Deer County. Actually, the grant is across Red Deer County. We also, Leaders in Training, the Youth Skate Park, or the Youth Spark Awards, Lemonade Day are also activities that would fall under the Youth Services. Family services, so when you're thinking of family services, you're thinking about our parent education program. So we deliver Triple P parenting, active parenting, a number of programs that we've developed in-house, some other ones that the staff are trained in, Signs of Safety, Bringing Baby Home, as well as all the early childhood development programs. So all the Little Learners series, the early kitchen programs, there's drop-in gym programs. We also have the home visitation program under family services, so 2 staff who perform a home visitation either weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly visits with families in their home. And then through the grant, the FRN grant, which funds a lot of family services, we also deliver programs out in Eckville and Bonalto. And so the programs that we do under youth services are delivered through the FRN grant out in those outlying communities. Thanks. Older adult services, so we have our Home Matters program, which is our light housekeeping program. We have our Lifeline program. All these programs through older adult services are designed to keep adults in their homes longer. Lifeline are the little buttons that people can get. So if they have a fall, they can press the button and get help and support. Grand Pals is a partnership between youth services and older adult services. So we're matching older adults with youth, and they're connecting throughout the year. We have a chronic pain peer support group, a caregiver support group. We also, under older adult services, is a social prescribing grant. And so we work with individuals and connect them to resources in the community one-on-one. So helping them to find the supports that they need, and that's done through the grant. We also have an elder abuse case management grant through older adult services. And you will have, I'm sure, seen the caravan bus. We use the Zoomers program and have trips twice a week to take adults who maybe have some transportation needs to grocery stores, and once a month on a social outing. Oh.
Yeah. I'm reading, I'm so interested in what's.
It's okay, yeah. I have the same problem all the time. It makes me feel good. It's not just me, actually. Please ignore me. I'm wondering if we can get some statistics back on the Zoomers program, whether it be year end, and happy to have that come through email or through the CAO report. But just curious on usage since the start of that program. I know frequency has increased, I believe, since we started it. It's always a future conversation around what transit looks like in our community, and to me, it's a very early stepping stone to that, but I am really interested in what that looks like. And I know I hear quite frequently from some of your regular Zoomers on how much they appreciate the bus. So yeah, just interested in what that looks like in terms of statistics at some point.
Through the chair, for sure, we can bring those stats back. Absolutely.
Councillor Bilodeau?
I just have a comment. I want to thank you guys because my mom utilized the caregiver support group. I think it was dementia care. It was spouses of the spouses that were caring for their loved ones through tough times. Anyways, it was my mom that was part of that group, and it was valuable. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Stindi?
Since we're throwing around kudos, I'll throw another one. You know, it's only a minor part of the whole WCC, but the Seniors Association benefits greatly from the partnership and work that occurs between WCC and the Senior Center. So they are regularly in the center doing lots of workshops for community through the center, so it automatically serves the association really well. So I just want to throw that out, even though it's not an individual budget or bullet here in the presentation, it's significant in the community.
Yes, thanks for that. Community and cultural services. So we have our volunteer center that operates under, volunteer center that operates under this team. Culture has just moved over this year to join our team. So we're community services. We're community and cultural services under this team. Citizen of the Year is another one of the initiatives that falls under this group. The Transportation Support Program as well. The Community Hub, which is a two-part group, one a community portion, and then they also have an action team, that kind of a case management system. And interagency happens every second month as well. The Social Master Plan falls underneath here, so this year, and any initiatives that fall in there. Block parties, forums assistance, and then family violence prevention, kind of from a universal lens. Culture programs, things like Earth Day, Red Dress, Moose Hide Pin Day, 1913, Days Art Show, the National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Those are programs that would fall under culture. So this is, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these slides, but you can see here who we have, a manager, child and youth Child, Youth, and Family Services Manager, which is a newer position, and that supports both youth services and family services. Family services also has a supervisor that helps support the work that their staff are doing, so it shows the FTE and those different programs there. This is the breakdown for older adult services and then community and cultural services. Both those programs have a supervisor that look after their team as well. Some of our highlights this year, we're very proud of Lemonade Day. They had 34 stands this year, 56 participants. It was a partnership with Economic Development. It's grown every year since we've had it. It's a great way to get youth involved in that entrepreneurial spirit. The 1913 Days Toddler Block Party, again, continues to grow every year. We had 232 participants this year. Neighbor Day in the Park had over 200 participants. We had our rock naming event that occurred there, so we had over 120 submissions for the rock naming. So that's been a popular addition to the Health and Wellness Healing Hub. The Youth Spark Awards, so this year there were 109 nominees. There was over 400 people in attendance at that event. It's been going on for many years. We're in the process of updating our social master plan right now, and that should be released in the next couple months. Just wanted to highlight that we brought in about $465,000 of grant funding outside of our regular FCSS and FRN grant funding. That equates to just under $1 million. And those things help fund a lot of the programs that we do outside of our typical work. There's been continued growth in our Indigenous events. This year, over 1,200 participants. There was the 1913 Days Art Show and Sale. We had over 25 artists participating in that event, and a number of visitors throughout those 1913 days. There was a historical video project that was in partnership with the archives, and it will be released in 2026. There's a series of videos that they're working on. We hope to sort of launch some new community wellness art-based programs through culture this year. Our Earth Day is going to be bolstered up a little bit with a bike rodeo, so that's exciting and coming. We've been working, it's a multi-department initiative, and we've been working on planning that. And challenges space is something that we face. So any questions, comments?
Mayor Hansen.
Just the comment, I would really encourage you to connect with the schools on the bike rodeo. As someone who sits on a couple different parent councils, this was something a few of them were looking at doing independently. And then when we heard the town was doing it, they're like, oh, that's a much better idea. But I think a lot of them would be excited to jump on board to promote or participate in any way they can, because it's something we talk around all those tables, is how kids have just lost some of the skills about getting safely to school, and just how common some near misses are. So,
Through the chair, yeah, we'll make sure that somebody that's attends Parents Council will share that.
Any other thoughts? No? Well, thank you very much, ladies. We're going to take a 7-minute recess. Let people stretch. sitting in front of us, so we are going to be very fortunate to hear from you on the 2026 capital budget and 10-year plan. So, by all means, take it away. I waited till you took the bite to start that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very calculated.
Yeah, so tonight, pardon me, we're back to discuss 26 capital budget and 10-year plan after the 18th. So in the package tonight, as you can see, the information that was provided to council on the 18th in camera, as well as some additional slides, which I will go through. And the administration has met, and those slides reflect some, I guess, some discussion points for council to consider making changes or not. Yeah, so the plan is, but can be changed, to discuss it again this evening. And then if council is satisfied with everything, then to approve the capital budget and plan on December 9th. So of course, we do need to approve a capital budget for 26 prior to January 1st. So if council is still not comfortable after this evening, they can discuss it some more on the 9th, and then schedule a special meeting sometime later in the month to approve the budget. And I think I've outlined those in the options there. Before, any questions about that before I get into, you have seen most of this, so I won't go over too much of it too fast, or too slow rather, but any questions about that, about the process? Okay. So yeah, moving into the slide deck. On page 20, of course, I'm a little confused here. I'm using my slide deck here on my computer, and then this one's moving separately. So, there we go. So talking about reserves and debt, as I was outlined this at our last meeting, what's in the 26 capital budget and 10-year plan, and how it affects our reserves and debt, some things we have to be aware of when it comes to the operating budget discussion that are outlined in a reserve policy and the debt limit. The reserve is the five-year forecast on page 31. Thank you. So yeah, it's something I certainly got a little feedback after the last meeting that perhaps some felt that I painted the picture as though the sky was falling. I want to assure everybody the sky is not falling, but I think it's something that we have to all be aware of and manage our financial position in the years to come, and so perhaps more so than we have in the past. And I think it's important that council, administration, and everyone involved understands where we're at and some of the challenges that we may be facing. The five-year forecast is in there. The debt forecast is in there as well, the five-year forecast. And then the annual forecasted debt payments. So that is in there for council's information. That's based on stuff that's on the books now and that's being proposed in the 26 capital budget as well as the 10-year plan. I did talk about last time how our debt picture has improved with our increase in revenues, taxation, and utilities in the last year, so that's more favorable for us. Are there any questions on that stuff that was presented previously before I get into the new stuff?
No, we're good.
Good, okay. So a big factor that we didn't get into last time is on page, I have page 38.
40, page 40 on ours.
40? Okay. Not sure why there's a difference. So when we were discussing our equity position, our accumulated surplus, there's something that we actually just got approval on this and the numbers last week. So when the accounting standard came into effect for asset retirement obligation, we had to set up a liability for our lagoon reclamation of about just under $5 million. And so Public Works had been, through this past year, working with the provincial government to see what can be done if they would accept an alternate plan to remediate the lagoons. So we're talking cells 7, 8, 9. And so they did a lot of work and presented a different plan to the province earlier this year over the summer. And we got approval just recently for that plan. And so we asked some consultants to give us a revised estimate to reclaim reclaim the site according to this plan that's been adopted by the provincial government. So what it does is it will allow us that and this will help our equity position, our accumulated surplus position, to move $2.5 million of that liability back into our accumulated surplus, into our utility reserve, essentially. And so, I mean, that's very good news. Public Works did a lot of work on that with the province to convince them of adopting that plan. So, revised estimate is the revised UT reserve projection that you can see there now. And so this is what, based on moving that money back from the liability into the reserve, what our reserve will look like for the utility. This is only the utility reserve, keeping in mind. So it paints, a better picture for us and helps mitigate some of those risks that I talked about earlier. So it helps us kind of build the reserve back up. As we can see 2025, we're at zero, but and we didn't project too much of a growth in that number for 26 and beyond, but this will certainly help us. And in my opinion, I think this moves us towards maintaining a healthy balance in that reserve. In my opinion, we should probably have an $8 to $10 million balance in that reserve on an ongoing basis. Given the cost of projects don't cost $500,000 or $1 million anymore. They cost $2 to $3 to $4 million, as you can see in our plan. Any questions about that?
Councilor Mearns?
Not a question, just a comment. I remember when this liability was first brought to council, and having to have that in a capital budget and tough to swallow. So to see it flipped and the benefit of us having that and being able to put it back into reserve is huge. So thanks to everyone involved in that, because that's a big win that we would have never expected even a year ago. So.
I concur with Councillor Mearns. I think knowing that any deficit was going to have to come out of essentially taxpayer money was kind of a terrifying thought, to have to put millions of dollars into a reserve and not have anything to show for it in terms of simply taxation. I think was a terrifying thought. So this is quite wonderful. This is definitely taking the pressure off everyone.
Certainly does.
Councillor Stindy?
A question on that, what is our page 40? that we jumped to just a moment ago. One of the comments made is about the offsite levy related borrowing being maintained below a percentage of the town's total debt limit. What kind of percentage should we be thinking about there? And I know you have in another note about setting up a policy to deal with reserves overall. Is that related to that percentage, or what kind of, where should we be going with that?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Roosty, good question. So this is something we discussed in the last couple weeks about this. So we're not really sure. So we're going to spend some time this year, and we're going to talk to some of our other municipalities around the province that are maybe in a similar situation to ours. Talk to our accountants and some other consultants to to come up with some limits possibly. And of course, every solution has to be unique to your community. And I think the fact is we're in a high growth community, and I think we have to take that into consideration too. So we can't compare it to others who aren't facing the same pressures that we are. But so we're gonna with planning and public works engineering, we're gonna work on that in the first half of 2026. And come back to council hopefully prior to the next budget cycle, and present some findings to you folks.
Okay.
If that answers your question, Councillor Loosley. Yeah. So the other side, I have to mix in some bad news with the good news, but the other component to the asset retirement obligation accounting standard is to identify in your facilities if you've got any asbestos. And so we've recently been doing that. We just had another meeting about it today, meetings with our consultant that we're working with. And so we do have some buildings that have been identified as that. So we are working on, there's a potential that there will be a liability for cleanup of asbestos at 2 or 3 of our facilities. So we're not sure on the numbers yet, but that's something we're going to hope to have here in the next couple months.
You go ahead. Question on those kind of liabilities. You name a new one, asbestos, but for any liability on the AROs, yes, AROs, do we have to have a full reserve for that, or do we have to, or can we build that reserve up over a set period of time, given that it's been a new requirement put on all these public bodies like us?
Yeah, through the chair, good question. So when we get to the point of, I guess, agreement with our auditors on what that liability might be, we'll have to set it up either in the 25 or the 26 fiscal year end. And so, if that number's significant, we will have to take it out of our equity position, accumulated surplus. But the county standard does not require that we do the work. They don't set a standard or a time frame when the work has to be done. It's identifying a liability that when we get to that, if we get to that, it could be next year, it could be 5, it could be 10 years down the road. We have to keep monitoring that liability. It doesn't tell us we have to do the work right away, that we have to budget for the work. We just have to set up the liability.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, just moving on to page 40 with some of the things we're going to look at here, as I mentioned, into 2026, and come up with hopefully a comprehensive approach to dealing with growth and debt management, and as well as reserve management. So that's just a few points there for council. Any questions on that? Yeah, so then into page 41, my 41, I think that's right. Yep. So, so as I mentioned, administration met over the past intervening period between when we last spoke about budget, and proposing some ideas for council to, if they wish to kind of defer some projects or reduce them in the budget for 2026. These are some options available. Of course, there's no numbers involved in this. One was identified by council at the last meeting, which was the Newtown float. That project can be removed or deferred to another year. And then the other attachment is, I guess, the public document on page, starting on page 44 as discussed, the presentation format for council, and this is obviously a public document here this evening, showing the years that the projects are slotted in, and then a total for that year, and it's of course still organized by department. The funding is still there, identified at the bottom in each section. So just wanted council to see that. And yeah, that is it. So just looking for a decision from council on how to proceed.
Thoughts, anyone?
We certainly have an option to go in camera this evening. If
Yeah, I think that's
to
the option, is to go into camera. Do you have that, Councillor Mearns?
Yeah, I'll make a motion the council move to a closed meeting to discuss information that will be available to the public, and this item shall remain confidential pursuant to section 19(1)A of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, RSA 2000 CF 25, and section 197(2) of the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000 CM 26.
What is the motion? All in favor? Excellent, that's passed unanimously. So we will gather in the back.
Concludes and council reverts back to the committee of the whole.
All in favor? Excellent, that is passed unanimously. And I believe we've come to the end of our agenda. So let's adjourn this meeting. Thank you, thank you.
See you